Later, guys. Let's do another Yap and Draw. Today, we're actually going to be talking about the Lilo and Stitch live-action movie, and basically a little rant into why movies should not be changed when they are supposedly, when they are basically the best that they can be. So, first off, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about the animated version of Lilo and Stitch, which was released in 2002. So, it starts out with Lilo going to dance class. She was late because she's giving Pudge a fish sandwich. Well, a peanut butter sandwich. And she had to go to the store and buy peanut butter. And Pudge was a fish that controlled the weather. Myrtle, one of the girls in the dance class, starts an argument with Lilo. And Lilo has an outburst. And basically the teacher's like, well, sorry, you're not going to be able to dance, that type of thing. And then, basically, instead of Lilo waiting, Lilo just ends up walking home. Nani goes to go pick her up, and she's like, well, where is she? She goes home, door's locked, she's trying to get in the house. The social worker's there, social worker does his little investigation. He's like, well, this visit didn't really go well, I'm going to give you a couple days. Basically, Lilo and Nani, they get in an argument, and then, Lilo reveals later that, I basically threw hands with Myrtle, and that sort of thing. So, but then basically, when it got down to the wish, right, Lilo had made a wish that she wanted a friend. Because Lilo is what some people call her. They call her canically autistic. And they also, she just doesn't fit in with other kids her age. So Lilo and Nani go to the animal shelter and they end up adopting Stitch, which is an alien, but he's disguised as a dog, essentially. So Stitch ends up, living with them. Lilo and Stitch get close. Nani is trying to work jobs, take care of them, all sort of stuff. And the thing that's being learned along the way, to Stitch, mainly, is that Ohana means family, and family means that no one gets left behind. We learn that Lilo and Nani's parents passed away, which is determined to be in a car crash. And that was due to a rainy and poor climate. So we kind of get the idea as to why and where Lilo has this thing with Pudge the fish. And then we kind of, get to the part where social worker ends up being called. Lilo calls them because the aliens that are hunting Stitch were now at their house and just went all haywire on the house. They had no house left. So then the social worker's like, well, I'm taking Lilo away. Peace. But Nani starts, trying to talk some sense, and Lilo's like, well, I'm going to escape. Then she ends up getting napped by an alien. They end up going on a goose chase. Nani finds Lilo. And then when they're all together, Stitch is, in handcuffs, about to get on the ship. And then he, explains to the aliens there, the other aliens, like, hey, this is my family. They're little and broken, but I found them on my own. Ohana means family. No one gets left behind. The social worker mentions that, ask Lilo, didn't you get Stitch from an animal shelter? And then Lilo brings shows an adoption license. And then the aliens are like, well, we take him. We're technically stealing. Stitch needs to live out a life sentence. He needs to live it out here. So, yeah, you're going to live it out here. And that's it. And peace, we're pretty much done. And that was the happy ending, was that everybody got to stay together. So that is the 2002 film. And the reason I'm bringing up 2002 film is because not a lot of people may remember it. Not a lot of people, especially in this day and age and this generation, may not have watched it. So we kind of get now to the live action. So basically, here's a few things. Number one is that you got Lilo and Nani. Okay, now, basically, in the film, the whole Ohana means family. Well, that's a little bit later. But basically, okay, let me start first. Basically, first thing was that Lilo is actually being watched by a neighbor. And the neighbor takes Lilo to the animal shelter often. So, basically, that's how she meets Stitch. Nani is not involved at all in the adoption of Stitch. And then when Nani's like, well, Stitch is going to go back, Lilo brings up, well, Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind. She's like, well, we got left behind, talking about the parents. So, and kind of like really kind of started crapping on the saying, number one. Number two, you got that. The whole story's changed right there, because the whole plot of them getting Stitch was because of Lilo being a misfit in society and Lilo just wanting a friend. Now that's erased. I don't know the full extent, but I know it is erased. So we have that. Then we have Nani just completely crapping on the Ohana means family, which in the animated film, that just was not happening whatsoever. So, then basically, not only all of this, okay, the ending was what really made people very, very upset. So, basically the ending was, they were all talking. Lilo basically almost drowned. And I don't know much because, again, I haven't seen the live action film, but I'm only going off of what has been, said / shared. So basically, they're talking on the beach, and Lilo's like, well, you could be a Marine. And the neighbor's like, well, no, she means working in marine biology, So a lot of people felt like that was kind of a little bit of a propaganda thing in there, which really it technically kind of is. There's a whole, back in, I think it was like World War II, World War I, something around those, when animation was really in depth, like in the 1900s. Like, there's really old animations where, like, they had Disney characters like Donald Duck, and they just did, in Looney Tunes, they did propaganda back in those days. I don't know if people can find that stuff really now, but I remember, like, I was shown all that stuff, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize they used animated films for propaganda like that. Well, apparently they still do in 2025. It's just now they're way more quote unquote subtle about it, which I don't think it was really that subtle, but when they were really doing that propaganda, it was not that was not subtle back in the olden days. Like, they had, I think it was Donald Duck in the war, literally in the war. Literally. So, yeah, it definitely, it has dumbed down a little bit. They've tried to hide it, but it's definitely still there, probably in animation, and it's probably even in film too. I just know a little bit of I know a little bit about film history, but I don't think propaganda was talked about much in film history. But I know in animation film history, it definitely is in there. So I wanted to add in that little tidbit as well. So yeah, and basically, Lilo was like, we all want you to go to college. Okay. They want her to go to college, right? And then, Nani's like, okay, Lilo, I'm gonna leave you behind, right? She literally left Lilo behind. again, bashing the Ohana means family, no one gets left behind, which was used for the entirety of the animated film in 2002. Now in 2025, Ohana means family, no one gets left behind is completely bashed. Like, at that point, if you're going to bash it, you might as well have just removed it from the entirety of the film. Because at least then it would have like some dignity to the verbiage. Because now what you're teaching people in 2025, well, you know what? Ohana actually doesn't mean family. Ohana means separating your family and saying peace out, suckers, and leaving. I don't know what to think about that. It's just really deplorable, that in itself. But continuing on, very end. Okay. We're at the very, very end here. So, she doesn't just go to college, right? You know, some of you might say, okay, well, she went to college. She went to college in California to be a marine biologist in California. And the aliens basically gave her a teleportation thing to go visit LILO whenever she wanted, so she wouldn't have to travel by plane or by boat. She basically would just teleport there. Which, what is that? That's what I want to know. What is that as a film? I'm sorry. At that point, make a whole new film. At that point, don't even bother with a remake. Yeah, Stitch's animation character design for the film, or CGI character design for the film, was kind of within tune to his original character design. But at the same time, it kind of wasn't. I mean, there's just a way. I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually done 3D animation before by any means. But I think just due to the fact that I have done animation before and I have a more studious eye to it, that you could kind of tell that for that being a film that Disney made, right, that Stitch's character design was pretty spot on, but the problem was his color design really wasn't. I mean, all them blues of his color design just really blended in. I mean, that's what I want to know. Like, why did you just have them blend in? Like, when we're looking at the Stitch in the animation, in the animated version, yeah, he was blue, but his blue did not blend in to that extent, right? That the blues could have been a lot better. I mean, I know they're trying to work with lighting and stuff, and they're trying to make him look realistic to the lighting, and I guess the lighting may have changed some things about it, but you still could have. I mean, there's really no excuse. I mean, you could have still made him a little bit more of a vibrancy blue. I mean, you're talking CGI. You're not talking... Well, even if this was like a costume or a prop design, right? Like, you could change the color. Like, you could have changed the color to make it match closer. I mean, that blue, you see that light blue on Stitch is more like a teal. They went for like a baby blue, which it just blends in. I mean, to me, it just doesn't work. And then another thing, right? So apparently the actress that played Nani, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I've heard of this. But apparently the actress that plays Nani is Weijin, which basically Weijin is, for those who don't know, Weijin means that you're mixed with white, like you're Caucasian, and you're mixed with Asian. So essentially, when you're Weijin, you're not really I don't know the word. I mean, my guess, the word is Polynesian, native, probably native. Yeah, native. I'm just gonna go with native, okay? But you're you're not a native in the terms of the setting of the movie. Like, if you're talking about, I'm gonna give a good example. Okay, we were talking about like the TV series of Ginny and Georgia, right? You got Ginny, who is mixed. She is Caucasian and she's also black. But then you also have Hunter. And Hunter is, I think Hunter's actually Asian. I don't know if that is exactly. I watched the series, it's just I don't remember that little tidbit. But anyway, I know that Hunter is mixed to an extent. Taiwanese. Yeah, Taiwanese. It wasn't Asian, it was Taiwanese or something. It was something like that. But basically, I remember the whole point of Ginny and Hunter's breakup. They basically argued over who was more oppressed within their peers, which, was, I kind of saw it with both sides were pretty valid because, again, I kind of have that, like, if somebody is, like, mixed with two different, like, if you're white and you're black, it's been talked about in film and media, where it's like, you're kind of in, like, you kind of don't really fit into one category and you kind of don't really fit into another category, or you fit in more to one category than the other. It can be really finicky and really tricky. So I do understand why it's brought into media and shows. I mean, I think it's actually a really good thing to bring it in and to bring more awareness to things like this. But at the same time, when you're talking about, in the case of Lilo and Stitch, when you have a Asian actress playing a native, I don't think that's really the best way to go about this film at all. At all. And I'm not done yet, by the way. There's still more things. I mean, the other thing was that the actress for Lilo literally carried the film because the actress Anani just put no energy into it. It's just sad, man. Like, this child actress was literally being introduced. So this is like her first, first major role. Her first major role. And she literally carried that whole film on her back. No joke. And that's on literal. So you got that too. And that's like on top of everything. Like, because, I mean, Lilo, like, the actress that played Lilo, she was really close as they could get for somebody to play Lilo. And it's like, how did they do so good on that? But then they, like, completely messed up Nani's character. And then you had, like, Nani's original voice actress that actually starred in the film as a social worker. And I'm just like, girl. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was great that some of the originals came back for this film. But at the same time, they should have... I mean, I don't know their place, but at the same time, I would have been like, hey, I don't think this is really in tune. Because, look, the way they made it sound, Lilo and Stitch, live action, right? My assumption is that when it's called that, the assumption is that this film is basically going to carry the same plot as the original animated film. But it's going to have a more live action presence. Or it's going to have, a more pushed storyline or something. I mean, they literally just made Nani like this this character who just did not care about Lilo like Nani in the animated film did. The whole thing. I mean, it just it like, and it's not just this, okay? There are so many films that and shows and everything that are just being made. And when they're being remade and like reanimated or rebooted or whatever, okay? It just, I don't know what is wrong with these people, man. Why are you taking all of the original ideas from like the 90s and like the 2000s, early 2000s, and then you just destroy them? Like even Rugrats, like look at that. The character design on the original animated series for Rugrats was top tier. And then you had the reboot, which had this deplorable 3D. It just, what did they do? Like, why did they do all that? And it gets worse. It gets worse. I'm not done yet. You have the comic strip Marmaduke. Okay, in 2010, they came out with a movie and they called it Marmaduke. Okay, the movie, that was actually a pretty good movie. You know, they had a real dog for it. You know, they had a real dog, real people. It made the film actually, you know, pretty good. Well, then, all of a sudden, here you go with them starting Netflix now. Coming out with Marmaduke 3D. And this film, there's no words for it. Basically, the entire plot of the film, and I'm going to explain this in one sentence with no additional context for everybody. And you're probably going to, I'm going to warn you, you guys are probably going to pause for a second. So, here we go. The whole point of Marmaduke, the movie in 3D. So Marmaduke was in this dog show. He ate a bunch of food, right? And then had to take a wild pretty much, in the middle of the dog show. Literally took that big old dookie in the trophy. And then basically got the entire family shunned because he took a giant old dookie in the trophy. That is the entire point of the film. That film was nothing but about that big old dookie he did. And about farts and about all that stuff. And it's just like, what is this film? What is this? Why did they make this? Like, there's just so many questions I have. And it's like, why are you guys just insulting all this stuff? Like, from the 80s and the 90s and thousands. And then, like, these people, whoever are doing this, they're taking them. They're taking their plots. And they're literally making these films so deplorable that every general audience is disgusted. I don't know what else to say. I have no words. No words to describe that outside of what I just did. I don't want to talk about that anymore, though. So we're literally just gonna move on from that. But yeah, I mean, what I don't understand is why they do it. It literally just blows my mind day in and day out that this is all they want to do. All they want to do is take these films and just turn them into something they're not, bro. Make new ideas. It's not that hard anymore. I mean, literally, it's not that hard anymore. Like, dude, I was able to make stories left and right on what I wanted to do. I got so many ideas for animated stories and character designs that I couldn't even keep up with my own brain. You're telling me these people can't put pencil to paper? Like literally fingers to keyboard? I don't know. Something. You're telling me these people couldn't do anything. Just something to ensure that 100% they could make a new film. I mean, I don't condone this either, by the way, but I mean, you got AI now, and AI could even help you brainstorm if you're that stuck. Literally, bro. What are you doing? I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Like, films and media, it just used to be so good, and now you got all these people just ruining it. So, anyway, that's all I got for you today, guys. So, I'll catch you later. Bye.